It's wonderful to see you all, and thank you so much for helping me with the technical issues as I do this by the side of the road. I wish you guys could see what it is. I'm looking at marshes, and I'm right outside of a wetland at the moment, so it's absolutely hysterical. All right, guys, hey, Charles, how are you? Good to see you. Let us get started with the questions. This is Free Advice Friday. It is noon on Friday Eastern Time, and I have at least a dozen questions from a couple of you that you've sent in this week. But I would like you to go to the Q&A box and type in your questions for this week. I'm going to get started by asking a couple questions that I was asked this week, and I will stop after I start seeing that you guys are throwing your questions into the mix. It's so good to see you all. All right, so the first question that I got this week was from, let's see, first question that I got this week was from Adam. Adam was asking me, his book is available from Create Space, which is owned by Amazon, and he put it up on Ingram Spark, which, as you know, is owned by the same family that owns Ingram Wholesaler. And because his book is now available at a deep discount through Ingram Wholesaler, which he did so that bookstores, libraries, and the international community could order his book. He wants the international world to be able to order his book. So Ingram Wholesaler is a great way to get that done through Ingram Spark. But once he did that, he started noticing that there were companies, one called Book Depository, some others, that offer his book on Amazon for considerably less than the price that he has listed. And he's wondering if it's worth being so severely undercut by these big names, because he's wondering if the increased sales going through companies like Blackwell's and the like will offset the loss of the profit that he's making if they bought it from him on Amazon. And I have heard this question numerous times, so I wanted to talk to you guys about this. Everyone has to do their own math. Everyone has to do their own math, and this is how you should think about it. Adam, whether you're listening or not, there's going to be a transcript of this. So guys, remember, I always post a transcript the following week on my website. But here's how you need to figure that out. If you make your book available at a 55% discount through Ingram Spark, and some company decides that they can buy your book at the 40% discount, and they put it on Amazon and offer it at a deep discount, and in essence, steal your buy now button. If they've stolen your add to cart button and it's no longer going to your book through Create Space, that means that you would have made 60% of the retail price of the book if they'd gone through Create Space, and you're only making 45% of the retail price of the book because the book is being purchased by this other company through Ingram Spark. You lose 15 points. You also lose the printing savings because Create Space is at least 10 or 15% cheaper. Their printing prices are a lot cheaper than Ingram Spark. So if you have a $20 book and you sold it through Create Space to a customer, you would have made if it's a black and white book, 300 pages, you would have made approximately $7 profit. And you will only make about $3 profit if somebody orders it from Ingram Spark and resells it to their customer. Whether or not that $3 difference is worth it is up to you. I would suggest that you let things lie for 60 days and see what happens to your P&L. I have a client whom I absolutely adore who does this fantastic series of test prep. She's got SAT books, she's got ACT books, she's amazing. She took one look at her bottom line and took them off of Ingram Spark immediately because she was making 20 or 30 grand a month on Amazon, and yet when somebody else went through and the back door to Ingram Spark and they grabbed her buy button and started selling it at a deeper discount, she made less than half of that. It cut her profit margin in half. As it would. I told you, you're making $3 as opposed to $7. That's a significant difference. She was already an established author with an established brand in an established publishing company that she had started years ago. If you are Please forgive me for using this phrase, but if you are a nobody, sorry, in the front seat of my car, I'm maybe not as tactful as I would be normally in my office. Of course, I think now you guys know me, I'm never tactful. If nobody knows who you are, then I would suggest that that $3 or $4 difference is the cost of broader exposure, and you might want to give it a try for a few months. But that is how the math works. It's up to you. You have other options for distribution into the international and bookstore community, but they will cost you a lot more than Ingram Spark will. And at the end of the day, if your book is available from a wholesaler at a 40% discount, these guys are going to swoop in and grab your buy button regardless. One last thing about this topic. The vast majority of these retailers they did not, I promise, they did not take a look at your book and go, interesting. I think I'll do that book. That's not what they do at all. What they do is their computers go out, every Thursday and grab all the new books that have shown up on Amazon, and they just automatically post them on the site. They have never looked at your book. They have no idea if they can get it at a deep discount. All they know is that Ingram Spark has listed it as a new book. They've gone out with their computers. They've swooped up all the new books that they can get at a certain discount. So feel free, if you'd like, to rest easy a little bit. They may not even be able to sell your book. All right, let's see if we've got any. Hey, Wanda, how are you? I see your hand is up, but I don't see. Okay, guys, just to remind you, it is 5 after 12. It is Free Advice Friday. And the reason why you're seeing me in the glorious splendor that is the front seat of my car is because I got caught in New York City traffic and was not going to be back in my office in time, and I didn't want to make you guys wait. I see that somebody has asked a question in the chat box. That's fine. I'll totally answer it, but please ask your questions in the Q&A box, because I am literally doing this reading from my iWatch and my iPhone, and I'm just not that talented. I'm doing the best I can from the front seat of my car, but I may not catch them all if you put them in the chat box. Oh, no, I'm not even going to use your name, sweetie. Of course, you don't have to say you're sorry. Just throwing it out there. So I also can't imagine what I look like right now, but here we go. We have a question. Can this person sell print-on-demand books to libraries? And if not, what advice can you give to keep the printing costs down? Sure. I actually am very qualified to answer this question. Print-on-demand is the best way to sell to libraries if you have a black and white book, if it's not over 380 pages, if you've gone through Ingram Spark. Yes, you can sell your black and white book that is 380 pages or less through CreateSpace extended distribution. But here's the thing. Expanded distribution means that you have given CreateSpace permission to put your book in their Ingram Spark account. Why would you give up all that profit? Just go to Ingram Spark yourself. There's no reason to do it. If CreateSpace tells you they can't put you into Ingram Spark because you've used your own ISBN, even better. What I want you to do is run, don't walk to Ingram Spark and get set up print on demand. You want to set the book as fully returnable, and if you're interested in libraries, you have to give Ingram Wholesaler at least a 40% discount. Ingram Spark, owned by the same family that owns Ingram Wholesaler, is going to ask you on the page what discount you want to offer a wholesaler. And if you don't want to give them the full 55%, okay, let's say you can't make any money at that. And by not make any money, I mean you're not making $2 or $3. Keep in mind, guys, you shouldn't be making more. The way I figure it out is whatever the retail price of the book is, I divide that by 8.5, and that's what my end profit should be before taxes. So for my book, I only make $1.80 profit on every book. I don't know what you guys do when you take the retail price of your book and divide it by 8.5, but it's a good rule of thumb of what you should be expecting in terms of end profit after print costs and other costs. And that's all you should be expecting. But if you really can't make that $1.50 profit at the end of the day, then you get your discount, but don't go above 40%, because then I need to tell you, the wholesalers take a 40% discount off the retail price of the book, and they'll turn around and give 30% discount, 20 or 30, depending on the chain, or the library system, but they'll give a 30% discount to the library. So they only keep 10%. So that's why you have to give them a good discount. I hope that answers your question, Danielle, and thank you so much for asking it. All right, let's see what else we've got here. What are your thoughts on Amazon Marketing Services ads, AMS ads, for a traditionally published book? Worth it? Do they work? So much conflicting advice out there. I have a very strong opinion on this based on my experience, but this is just my experience. When I put, and when you say traditionally published, Patricia, I think you mean traditionally distributed, meaning you're not going print on demand, because traditionally published usually means that a big house in New York or Chicago has bought the rights to your book, but you mean that you've printed the book carefully, it's going through a wholesaler directly through the publisher. And yes, Amazon, AMS, Amazon Marketing Services ads are always a good idea for most genres. They don't work as well for romance novels or some of the more genre-specific fiction. But for the most part, what you will find with Amazon in this day and age is that unlike a few years ago, you could put a new book up on Amazon and it could bubble to the top. There might be, it's getting a little warm in here, guys. I'm going to open my window. I hope you don't mind. Hope the noise from the passing cars don't bother you. But what you would have found a few years ago is that with clever keywords and a little word of mouth and sending out some emails to your list, you could bump your book to the top of the search engines on Amazon. Remember, Amazon is the #2 search engine in the world after Google. They run on bots. They run on the world. So that is no longer true. Amazon now gives very strong precedence. And I'm not going to say they hide books that don't pay for marketing. I'm not going to say that. But you got to pay. If you're releasing a new book, my experience is throw a few dollars. And by a few dollars, I mean $15, $20 a week. Throw something at AMS. You will not be sorry. It will definitely bump up the searchability and the findability of your book. That is how I feel based on my experiences. I have hundreds of clients and students who have tried launching without AMS ads and tried launching with them. And I'm here to tell you, those who spend a little bit of money with AMS, they're always, always, so far, much further ahead than those who choose not to. I hope that answers your question. Let's see. Someone is asking if librarians on Library Thing tend to be harsher in general. She's got, this reader has a almost 5-star, almost 4.8 on Amazon after 35 reviews. And 4 out of 5 of the Library Thing reviewers did not like it. Okay, librarians are not, on Library Thing, are not any harsher than librarians in the real world. So the answer is no. But are booksellers and librarians harsher than readers? Yes, because they see a lot more books, because they spend their days completely seeped and immersed in new books are coming at them all the time. There's always something new coming at them. They truly are on the front lines. So if somebody's been particularly negative about your book, now, Patricia, I've not seen these reviews that you're talking about. I have heard about them, but I've not seen them. I will read them and I will call you and we'll talk about it. But in general, guys, you're going to be held to a much, much higher standard by librarians and booksellers and people who spend their days working with professionally published books and who see what's going on in the marketplace and who they truly believe they understand what their readers are looking for and what their patrons are looking for. But no, reviewers on Library Things are not more harsh than librarians, but librarians are far more picky and harsh than normal readers are. 35 reviews on Amazon is fantastic, but it's just a drop in the bucket. You will notice, guys, that books that are published by big traditional houses, they get hundreds and hundreds of reviews, usually within a few weeks. And that is because readers who are going after more established authors, readers love to write reviews. And readers, for the most part, who have something negative to say, I know it doesn't always seem like it, but they're actually reluctant to be mean. Readers, if they don't like a book, often will just toss it aside. Librarians, if they don't like a book, they'll tell people. So that is my advice about that. Wanda is saying she's heard from some bookstores that Ingram won't give them a good discount. What can be done about that? Wanda, if your book is up on Ingram Spark and you have given the wholesaler a 55% discount, the wholesaler will give bookstores a 40% discount, which is a good discount on your book, with these exceptions. If that bookstore has not done at least $5,000 a year worth of business with Ingram Wholesaler, Ingram will only give them a 30 to 35% discount. So my first question is, did you give the wholesaler the full 55% discount? And if you did, if that's what you did, then you and I need to talk. I will go in. I actually own an online bookstore. So I have access to Ingram Wholesaler and Baker and Taylor Wholesalers front of store for booksellers like me. So if you guys ever wonder what your page looks like to the booksellers and librarians, you can call me or email me and I'll take a screenshot and show you. But Wanda, we need to take a look at your discount. But the first question is, did you give the wholesaler at Ingram through? Oh gosh, somebody's calling me. I hope that didn't shut you guys off. Oh, Wanda, thank you. Let's see, I've got some more questions that I see you guys asking, but I'm going to go back to the emails and make sure that I get to the questions for those of you who wrote in earlier. Rebecca has written a couple of questions. I'm going to answer one or two of them now. She is asking the 5 most important places to sign up as an author. It depends on your genre, and she wants to know the big conferences to go to. So here's my advice. You can't go wrong when it comes to conferences. You can't go wrong with Writer's Digest. They really know their stuff. And I would highly recommend IBPA, Independent Book Publishers Association. And as you know, Rebecca, it's how I met you. Judith Briles actually runs a pretty robust and very, very entertaining but educational conference, one of which is coming up in August, Author U, in Breckenridge, Colorado. If you guys go to Author U Extravaganza, the Author U, which is Author U Extravaganza, that's another good conference. But for your genre, Rebecca, I would pay attention to the organizations that deal with Christian books. You are a Christian author. I don't know much about the Christian book selling world. I don't know much about the Christian world. So you really should be focusing on people who understand your category. I don't. Writer's Digest might. I'm pretty sure IBPA definitely has some experts you can reach out to. So signing up as an author, yes, I would definitely, in your case, being that you also have a memoir, you mentioned the Nonfiction Writers Association. Stephanie's organization is fantastic. IBPA, Writer's Digest, Stephanie's Nonfiction Writers Association, take a look at those. I recommend those. And in terms of conferences, I like anything that IBPA or any of their sister companies, BEPA is part of IBPA. I'm going to be in St. Louis next weekend speaking at an IBPA conference. I didn't know it was IBPA when I agreed to do it, but I love them. So, yeah, go there. Run, don't walk. The next question that Rebecca has, and then I'll get back to the ones you guys are asking, is Barnes & Noble seems to have changed the fact that they don't have to own your book to publish it. And then if you get it in the doors to their buyer, it seems to indicate on their site. So here's, I know what you're talking about, Rebecca. Barnes & Noble, a year and a half ago, put this call out to self-publishers and said, if you give us at Nook, N-O-O-K, if you give those of us at Nook your files and let us print your book on demand, you will have a much, much better shot of getting onto our website. You'll have better positioning on our website. And once you sell a certain number of books, some people said 500, some people said 1,000, but once you sell a certain number of books, you then will be welcome into our bookstores. Now, there was a lot of backlash to that. And I will tell you, I always ignored that. I always ignored that. I'm ignoring it now. You can still send your book into Barnes & Noble's offices at 122 Fifth Avenue. Go to their website. They've got information. There's a small press vendor department, a small press department. Send a couple copies of your book in. You need a cover letter. You need a marketing plan. There's a lot, but you can still send your book in for consideration. And if your book is good enough, and if you've shown them that you have enough demand, they will still consider it. I have tons of authors that I work with who do not go print on demand through Nook, who use Ingram Spark, who still get into Barnes & Noble on a regular basis. I know tons of people who don't go print on demand who get into Barnes & Noble, and they're self-published. They're independently published. They're small press published, whatever you want to call it. Not a lot of vanity published books get into Barnes & Noble. So if you have a co-hybrid publisher's name on your spine, you're going to have a hard time getting into B&N. They do have a bit of a hair across their nose about those books. But if your book is good enough, and if you've got enough demand, and if you can show some sales online, the sky's the limit. There is no rules that you need to pay attention to, no matter what their website says. That is direct experience, I promise you. All right, so let me get back to some of the questions that you guys are asking. And then I'll go back to the emails. Let's see what I have answered so far. Can you give us advice on how to hire a savvy someone who can help do social media marketing for a new book to be self-published soon? Do you recommend anyone who specializes in this? Okay, so here's the thing. I specialize it, and I'm kind of good at it. So hire me. But if you don't want to hire me, and I totally understand if you don't want to hire me because I am kind of expensive, but I have a great team. There are a couple of people out there who I can recommend. But my question for you, Charles, is why do you need someone to do it for you? Are you more interested in, and what I do with my clients is we get them all set up. We build the structure, the framework, and we get them started, but then we give it back to them. See, Charles, only you know your readers and your books. You know them best. I can get you started. I can get you going. You don't want to hire someone who's going to promise you 2,000 Twitter followers in 3 weeks. That's just, it's crazy. It's not real. What you want to do is you want to build your social media with training. And I don't care if I train you or if I train one of your interns or some local, lady from your church or a kid down the street or a nephew whom you've always liked but has never been able to hold on to a job. I don't care who you have. What we need to do is we need to get your books and your authors out there in a social media way so that people start liking them. It's all about likability, and how you approach social media is very much, you've heard me say this before, very much how you approach any social situation, cocktail party, anything. What you want, and you definitely want this, is to walk into the room and be gracious, not be a bore, not be all self-serving and, hey, look at me. So I'd be happy to train whomever in your organization you want to do that. We'll help you get set up. We'll show you the tools. But there are other people that you can hire. I honestly don't know their names off the top of my head, but Charles, I have your email. I will send you some names. Okay, I don't usually do a plug on Free Advice Friday, but there you go. Wanda's asking how to get on Ingram Spark. I'm only on Ingram. Wanda, Ingram Spark is the print-on-demand company where your book should be hosted that makes the book available on Ingram Wholesaler. So I don't exactly remember how you got your book into Ingram. It may have been just through CreateSpace, but I believe you have an Ingram Spark account. It also is called, some people also used to call it Lightning Source, same company. But ingramspark.com, you would have put your files up if you're on Ingram. If you don't have an Ingram Spark account and you only did it through CreateSpace, then that's how you ended up on Ingram, and that is why bookstores can't get a good discount. And we have just answered the question. If you didn't get your own Ingram Spark account and you just went through CreateSpace, then what you've done is you've made your book available through their Ingram Spark account, and they're keeping all the profits. And you're right. The bookstores aren't getting a deep enough discount because CreateSpace is keeping them all. Guys, if you go to right now, well, not right now, keep listening to me, but later, go to www.newshelves.com/FAF, Free Advice Friday. Newshelves.com/FAF. Before I go home tonight, because I will be in my office by 4 or 5, but before I go home, I will put a link up to step-by-step instructions on how you can get your book from CreateSpace onto Ingram Spark. I will post an article about why you need both, and I will give you a link to an article that gives you the step-by-step instructions on how to use both. I promise. I walk people through it all the time. Newshelves.com/FAF. Give me a couple hours. I'm sitting out in the middle of wetlands right now, but I promise I'll get it done. I hope that answered your question, Wanda. Ryan is saying, do we really have to have 10 different books for sale before we can list directly with Ingram or more? Ryan, yes. Are there any ways you can suggest to get around that for print books that aren't done print on demand? He's publishing books enough for his own publishing company. Ryan, this is how to get around it. Go to Baker & Taylor. Ingram is not interested in small presses. They don't have, it costs them too much money to work with someone with only a couple of books. Once you can prove to Ingram Wholesaler that you can make them $50, $60, $70, $80,000 a year, then they're going to want to work with you. But to make them $70,000 a year, they're going to want you to be making $230,000 a year. Yes, you need to have 10 books, or you need to have one book that's selling 40,000 copies a year minimum. It doesn't have to be 10 books. You can change their mind with one book, but it has to be selling a lot of copies. They don't want to work with smaller houses, and it's not that they're jerks. They lose money. That's not their business model. Their business model is for you to go print on demand. Now, you can have your traditionally printed books and go print on demand if you have certain types of books, but if you've printed anything for color or anything where you're concerned about, the paperweight, then your best option is to go to Baker & Taylor. Baker & Taylor, provided you've got enough demand and enough sales, will happily take a one-title publisher. They do it all the time, but they charge you $495 setup fee. They take 120 days to pay. They say 90, but it takes longer. They want a 55% discount. You have to pay the shipping. So I'm afraid those are your only options at the moment. All right, I hope that answers that question. Charles is asking if I can explain the difference between print on demand and CreateSpace. Sure, there is none. CreateSpace is a print on demand company. Print on demand, POD, is a business model. Print on demand is a business model that allows companies, also known as POD companies, print on demand companies, such as CreateSpace, owned by Amazon, or Ingram Spark, owned by Ingram Wholesaler. And these companies use the print on demand business model to print books digitally using digital printers and make them available to whomever orders them on demand. If a bookstore orders a book or 2 books or 6 books, they print that many books and they ship them out the next day. If a library orders a book, and so when it comes to CreateSpace, which is a company that uses the print on demand model for Amazon, if my mother or Aunt Maureen or best friend orders a copy of your book, Amazon will turn to their print on demand company, CreateSpace, have them print a copy and ship it out the next day. So if came in last, Carolyn has asked, apparently I'm frozen again. I'm going to assume that this is still recording, and I'm just going to keep going. Carolyn asked, she thanked me for the advice that I gave last week, and she says that her book, the second edition, was published at CreateSpace, and now she wants to do an ebook. And she remembers me saying at one point that Ingram Spark was a great way to distribute an ebook, and that is true. But I have a better one. I have a better distribution model and a better distribution company. Ingram Spark used to be my favorite, but I now love Draft to Digital. And Draft to Digital, DRAFT, the numeral 2, digital, digital.com. I'm going to put a link to their site on the newshelves.com/FAF site tonight. I promise I will get that done. So I will put a link, but what I would recommend to you, if you don't mind, Carolyn, is that you check out Draft to Digital. They are my new favorite for ebook distribution. They don't have any setup fees. They only take 10%, and they make your book available through Overdrive. And for those of you who have known me for even 5 minutes, you know that I insist that your book be available on Overdrive if you want to sell your book into the library market. If you've chosen to go exclusive through KDP Select for 90 days, then you can't do Draft to Digital or Overdrive. You have to wait until those 90 days are up. But when those 90 days are up, I recommend that that's what you do. All right. Let's see what else we have here. Julia's asking about the benefits of Library Thing. Well, Julia, I love Library Thing. If you've got a book that you think is really good for the library market, and if you've shown it to a few librarians and got them to agree, don't just assume, then I would suggest that contacting Library Thing and offering your book for review through one of their review programs is a terrific way to get a couple of dozen or more librarians to give you an honest opinion about your book. If you have an experience like, Rob did or Alan recently, and you get all of these, rave reviews, librarians see that. However, if you have an experience like the other woman who asked had, and I'm so sorry about this, where they didn't love the book, and not because the book wasn't great, they didn't like the theme of the book. They took issue, if I remember correctly, it wasn't the quality of the book they took issue with. They didn't like the topic. So if a librarian takes issue with your book, just be aware that Library Thing reviews are taken very seriously. Librarians really do pay attention to them, and you may end up finding that you have fewer library sales than you might have and so one of the things I'm going to do for the woman who didn't get a lot of love from Library Thing is I'm going to see if we can reach out to different or more librarians and see if we can get a higher, a better balance. Maybe we can get more librarians to give a positive review who might like the theme. Because again, there was no question in that the other person's book. There was no question as to the quality of the book. It was just the theme that. So I love Library Thing, and I've never had a reason to regret putting a book up into it until this very last experience, and I've been using them to get librarians to review books for years. All right, I've already answered that question. What is the number of sales? Okay, this is a good question. What is the number of, well, they all are, guys, sorry. The number of sales that is substantial enough to be noticed by a full-service distributor or Barnes & Noble. My rule of thumb, guys, is 10,000. That's my rule of thumb. Now, I pitch a book to Barnes & Noble the minute it's available. But if you really want full-service national distribution by a company like PGW or NBN, if you want Barnes & Noble to sit up and really take notice, you should be selling minimum 50 copies a week on Amazon. Minimum. That is the number. Because that will tell Barnes & Noble that your book has legs. These stores, independent bookstores in particular, a lot of them report to BookScan. Most of them do. Barnes & Noble, Amazon reports to BookScan. Those BookScan numbers are very easy to find. If you have an Amazon Author Central account, authorcentral.amazon.com is where you go to sign up if you don't have one. You can go to your Author Central account, and once you sign in at the top, and you claim your books. You say, okay, this book is mine. I did it this week. I have a new book that came out. I'm actually the co-author of a book called Write and Grow Rich that is re-releasing this fall, but it just showed up on Amazon for pre-order. I'm very excited. I did it with a whole bunch of other authors. I went on Author Central. I grabbed that book and I claimed it, that I was the co-author. Now, what happens is I can, for the rest of the life of that book, I can go click on the report tab at the top of my Author Central page, and it will tell me what my BookScan sales were for the previous week, the previous 4 weeks, the previous 32 weeks, lifetime. Book scan numbers are important. So Julia, that is my rule of thumb. 50 copies a week will definitely get you what you need. 30 copies a week will still get you in the ballpark. Anything less than that, and you're probably not going to get the kind of national attention you're looking for. I hope that answers that question. Let's see. Caroline is saying her print books are only with KDP Print right now. The conversion process from KDP, yes, it absolutely is. But I don't know, Caroline, if KDP Print offers expanded distribution. But I'm going to check into that and see. If you want to email me, amy@newshelves, amy@newshelves.com. That's my email. If you want to email me your ISBN, I will check to see if your book's available on Ingram and what discount it's available at and how it looks. I'd be happy to take care of that. But I don't know enough about KDP Print to know what discount they offer books at. But I'm going to check into it. All right. Ryan is asking, and then I'm going to go back to the emails. Other than the fact that I've frozen twice, I'm thinking this is going pretty well. I'm pretty happy. I may do this from the car more often, except my air conditioning is not keeping up with the heat of the day. It's 100 degrees out here in the middle of the wetlands. It's 100 degrees according to my car thermostat. Whew, a little warm. Ryan is asking, his printer isn't going to put any label on the advanced review copies before he sends them out to reviewers. If they're shrink wrapped, should he put a sticker on the outside, or do I need to label the physical book somehow, like with a rubber stamp? Ryan, I'm going to guess that what you're saying is that the books are shrink wrapped and that the advanced reader copy that you're sending out is a real book. It's not going to be a specially printed cover that's got the ARC information on the back with who the distributors and wholesalers are and when the pub date is and what the marketing plan is. And you probably are going to have, I'm guessing, the barcode on the back of the book. Is that true? If so, can you type down below is that what you mean? Because if that's what you mean, then you're not actually sending an advanced reader copy out. You're just sending an early copy out of your book. And yes, I would strongly recommend that you put a big fat sticker on the back. And on that you say review copy, not advanced reader copy. You say review copy. Provided by, in the name of your publisher with your contact information. Give them the pub date, when the actual pub date is, and tell them that, for more marketing information, go to www.ryanreallyrocks.com. I know that's not your website. So if they're he just checked in, yes, normally printed books. So if they're not shrink wrapped, then I know you don't want to sticker the back of books. If they're shrink wrapped, sticker them. If they're not shrink wrapped, then I would suggest you put a beautiful, colorful, go for color. Go to Kinko's, I don't care what you have to do. 4-color sales sheet, and on the top of it, you say advanced review copy, not, advanced review copy, call it, provided by the publisher, and everything I said. Explain to them that the pub date is not for a few months out, and that this is an early look, and make sure you put in the letter that it's still to be proofread. Tell them that it's not a finished copy, even though it is, for this reason. What if they find typos? And they're going to, I promise you. Every book has typos. And so it's a nice way to say, this is an advanced copy. Don't call it an ARC. That's something different, but a review copy. Final press to be released October, whenever the date is. So there you go. I hope that answers your question. If it didn't, ask again down below, because it looks like, we still have 20 minutes and I only have a few more questions to go. I'm thrilled. Charles is saying that if he sees his book offered for sale on Amazon for $17.97, knowing that they are offering a discount, what should the normal retail price be with that price on Amazon? Well, Charles, that's not how to think about it. Your book has a retail price that should be based. Oh, did I mention it's warm in here? Ooh. Your book has a retail price that should be based on what the market is paying for books like yours. So if you've written a romance novel that's about a professional basketball player who's falling in love with the reincarnated woman who used to be his dog, Okay, that's the weirdest plot I can think of right now in this heat. And so what you need to know is, what are other reincarnation romance novels selling for? And what is HarperCollins romance reincarnation, subgenre? What are their books selling for? And how much money you make. All they care about is what is fair. And if I'm going to buy a Coca-Cola, if I'm going to buy a Diet Coke for 79 cents from 7-Eleven, and it's $1 at McDonald's, okay, I'm willing to spend the $1 at McDonald's. I'll spend $1.40 at Burger King. But there is no way on heaven's green earth that I'm going to spend $5 for a Diet Coke when I know I can run down to McDonald's and get a similar Diet Coke for $1. Now, if I'm in a movie theater and they're going to charge me $5, that's different. But your book isn't in a movie theater. Your book is not that unique. I'm sorry. No one's books are that unique. You guys, you have to price. So that's what the retail price should be. I thought it was Carrie telling me I'd frozen. Amazon discounting and taking that $3 hit from their side of the cut, not from yours. Amazon is still going to pay you the same amount no matter what they sell the book for. So you still get the same amount of money. Don't worry about the discount. And one last thing I'm going to tell you guys, because I've been hearing this a lot lately. Yes, my book is $3 cheaper than the HarperCollins book of the same genre, but Amazon discounts it $3, so it's all the same. It's not. Let me explain why. Amazon is going to discount the HarperCollins book $3 too. So now your book is $17 and their book is $14, and that is not how this works. If you are a small press and if you're just getting started and you don't have the words HarperCollins stamped on your copyright page, you have to work harder. I'm sorry. It's not fair. But Kim Kardashian does not have to work as hard as I do to look good in the morning. It's just not fair, but that's the way it is. Kim Kardashian has benefits that I don't have. So I got to spend a little more time in the morning than she does putting it all together. So do you. It's just life. I'm sorry. All right. So let me go back to answering a couple of email questions. I want to make sure I get to all of these. Wayne is asking, let's see, it's loading up. All right. Wayne is asking about a PCIP. Now, I have put this link on Free Advice Friday before, but a PCIP is a pre-control PCIP. No, it's not. It's a publisher catalog and publication block. CIP is a catalog and publication block. The heat's getting to me. PCIP is a publisher catalog and publication block. And here's the difference. A CIP is provided by the Library of Congress. The Library of Congress offers a service for free to traditional and more established publishers. How do they know they're an established publisher? Here's the rule. The publisher has at least 4 books by a minimum of 3 different authors. 4 books by 3 different authors, and the Library of Congress will agree to put a CIP block together for you. It will take them 6 to 8 months. They're a little backlogged. It takes a long time. And people like Random House usually get precedence. Sorry, that's the way it is. But if you want that block of data, and librarians really appreciate when they see that huge block of data on the front page. For those of you who don't know what these blocks look like, go to newshelves.com/FAF. Arrow down a little bit. I actually put a link together to a blog, an article that I wrote about this. But go to newshelves.com/FAF. It will take you to a blog that Pat McCurdy and I wrote explaining all this, and it shows you what they are. But if you want a piece catalogs in business, and they put these blocks together. What happens is these companies, the one that I love is called Donahue Group, DGI/INC.com. The Donahue Group, I adore them, but they do it pretty inexpensively. But these companies, such as the Donahue Group, they put these blocks of data together and they put their stamp of approval on it, and they say, I, as a certified librarian with all of my training, I attest that this book is this category, it's got this Dewey Decimal System, the author is this person, and they verify and vet the book. That data, librarians love it, because when they have to put a book in their system, there are so many codes to look up. There is so much to happen. And the librarians don't want to do all that lookup work. If it's right there on your copyright page, you're in great shape. So I hope that helps. All right, let's see. Let's see. I already answered that one. People can hear me. Caroline, who is an audiobook narrator, wants to know if I have any suggestions on how to get the audio and ebook versions in front of librarians. Caroline, your audiobooks have to go onto Overdrive. Overdrive, because yes, 25, well, that's not exactly true. According to the last materials survey, 22% of library budgets are dedicated just to audiobooks, 19 to ebook, 22% to audiobooks. And both of those are serviced beautifully by Overdrive. And the easiest and fastest way to get into Overdrive for an ebook is Draft to Digital. And for an audiobook, they have a sister company called Findaway, findaway.com. And if you go to their website, draft2, the numeral 2digital.com is also a way to get in there. They'll give you a link to Findaway, but findaway.com is the audio sister company to Draft to Digital, and you can get your book into Overdrive using them. I hope that answers that question. All right, it looks like, oh, Carrie, bless you. Guys, it's called Findaway Voices. Findaway Voices. Whew. Carrie, I owe you big. Sorry, guys. Findaway Voices. Sue is asking about Smashwords. I like Smashwords. I like Mark Fine, but his interface is really clunky. He doesn't offer the same tools and the same ability to work with Overdrive that Findaway does. I have no problem with Smashwords, but I like Findaway better. They take the same 10%. They're both good companies, but Smashwords is a little awkward to work with, and Draft to Digital is just, it's more smooth, it's more savvy. Daniel's asking how one sends a book to librarians to review. Do you mean to review, to write a review? That would be librarything.com. I would go to librarything.com and look at some of their review options. All right, guys, we have 10 minutes left. And let's see what the other questions. Julia wants to know how to get up to 10,000 copies. Julia, if I had the answer to that, I wouldn't be sitting in my car in 100-degree heat right now. I'd be rich. I'd write 10 books because I'm not a bad writer, and my butt would be sitting on a beach in Puerto Rico right now. How to get up to 10,000 copies. Reach out to newspapers, magazines, and bloggers every day and offer to write articles and to write content for them. Reach out to reviewers every day. Be advertising. Get an advertising budget together. Find out where your readers are. Be really, really smart about who the other authors are in your genre. Take a look at what they're doing. How did they become best-selling authors? Did they tour? Did they not tour? Did they get really savvy online? Do they eschew the online world? I want you to pay attention to what your readers are already reading. Do you know who your top competition is in comparable titles? Don't tell me you don't have any. You all have dozens. So advertising, marketing. If you don't have money, invest time. If you don't have the time, you're going to have to invest money, one or the other. And then there's luck. You also have to be talented. The book needs to be beautifully edited. It needs to be proofread over and over again. The cover needs to be almost perfect and designed by a top designer. And when you've put all that in place, you may find at this point